Welcome to Talent Freaks with Andy Coon. I'm Andy, a filmmaker and photographer based in the Bay Area of California. This podcast delves into the journeys of creative individuals who inspire curiosity and impact through their work. In this episode, we continue our conversation with Michael Ajakwe, the visionary founder of the LA Web Festival. Recorded in 2012, this part delves into the future of web series and the broader entertainment landscape. Michael shares his insights on the executive side of TV and film, the evolving role of web series, and how creators are already ahead of the game in this digital age. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe and rate Talent Freaks on your favorite podcast platform. It helps others discover these inspiring stories, and I'm incredibly grateful for it. So let's go back to 2012 and enjoy this conversation between my younger self with Michael Ajakwe. This is just the follow-up, the finisher of part one, but this one we really get into about where web series belong in this world and the future of web series and actually the future of entertainment. Michael talks about the executive side of TV and film, what he sees, what they perceive, and how we are already ahead of the game. So check out part two. It's not too long, and really thank Michael for doing this. This was awesome. See you on the other side, peeps. Michael, thank you so much for spending time with me and doing this. I know you're a busy man, so really appreciate this.
Andy, you're one of my favorite people, man. We've become friends through the web series. That's another thing. The web series has made so many people through networking, made so many friends from across the country, and we become friends and internationally. And I just really admire the work you and Blake have done with Often Awesome. It's one award at our festival every year was in it. It was just a no-brainer that you were going to get love, and everybody that sees your show is moved by it. You guys are so talented, and I can't wait to see your next creation. And I'm so happy and honored that you asked me to be on your show. How could I say no? You can't say no to Andy Coon and Blake Parche. These guys are mega talented. We're going to be hearing your names a lot. I know we will. In this genre, and I think other genres as well. So
yeah, Blake he's carrying the torch in other genres and doing a really good job. And I'm still, like you, patient. I'm waiting for that next one to go out there and do. But also, I'm not giving up on Often Awesome. I'm keeping promoting it, pushing it, and doing whatever I can to get Tim's message out there. But and what you did, man. I mean, you inspired me. I mean, I love what you did with that festival. Just the idea alone, but also like how you treated. Like when we went out there, or when I went out there, it was one of the most welcoming environments that I've ever been in, and I felt very special to be a part of it. And I saw how hard everybody worked there, from all the volunteers, and it was a festival. People were festive, and everybody was really cool. Met people and talked and networked, and it was great. And everyone had a great vibe at the end when everyone received their awards. Like everybody was so happy for everybody else. So, I mean, hats off to you. And I know it's getting better every year, and it's so much fun to see that grow.
Well, thank you so much. You've been there since the beginning. We're now, as you know, in the Radisson Hotel. We have a major hotel, which is amazing, and it just elevated everything to another level. Now everything happens in the hotel. You don't have to leave the hotel, which is great. And it's just an evolution. It's like anything else. We're evolving, and I've had to, with no sponsors for the festival, I feel just blessed that we're able to do it. I mean, we're able to do the festival. We're in a major hotel. We keep growing. We don't have any sponsors, but that goes back to doing the play in the park.
Yeah.
With money and just using whatever you have. And as you know, we started in a small theater, ironically in a small theater. But the whole idea, one day I envision a whole week honoring web series here in Los Angeles, as well as the one that's in Marseille that takes place, the Marseille Web Fest. Jean-Michel, my buddy and blood brother in Europe and in France. It takes place October 12th and 13th. It's an incredible festival in Europe, man. It's so beautiful. And the whole city is behind that festival.
That's great.
I look forward to a day when we can say that about the LA Web Fest, where the whole city is behind it. I know that's going to come. It's just you have to get established first and be around for a while, and then here come those other players. And I know that you're interested in doing something, and you're part of the country, and I have no doubt that you're going to be the guy to pull that off and establish a festival in that part of the country when the time is right. But I'm just so happy that I met you, and I'm happy that our community is growing. And like you said about the festival, I'm going to say one last thing. People have said to me over the last couple of years, you want to get more sponsors, you want to get sponsors, Mike, you want to get more, even more people to come. You should get some celebrities, get some TV people, some film people, have them do the red carpet, make them presenters at award shows. And I said no. I said no.
Good.
I said every festival does that. They go get it's about independence and it's about the little guy or the independent guy, but they'll go and get the made guy, and it'll make it about him. Even the theater, I used to write the theater awards for the NAACP, and you might get mad at me for saying this, but the film actor, once a film actor shows up and says they want to present, it's not enough for them to just be at the show they want to present. Then the theater people get pushed off to the side. People who this is for them, they tend to be kind of the second call after the film people, and it doesn't become about theater; it becomes about television to me. And I feel that let our festival, let the LA Web Fest will always be, as long as I'm alive, about the people who are making and starring in these shows. We're the stars, we're the celebrities for those 3 or 4 days. It's about us celebrating us. If we don't celebrate us, Andy, who else will? No one's going to celebrate us if we don't start with our own. And so that's our philosophy. If you felt love, and I've heard that from other producers and creators and actors, man, I feel good about that because we want you to feel love, especially when you're coming from Greensboro, you're coming across the country to be here. You should feel like the star that we think you are.
And I'll tell you, it's funny because I went out to your festival, that I had this perspective that I hated the Webbies because I went out there. It was like the big event, the Webbies. This is huge. It's the Web. We won People's Choice or People's Voice Award for Best Documentary Web Series. Go up there. They have a red carpet. I asked them, like, can I go out on the red carpet? They go, no. That's reserved for celebrities and our sponsors. And I was like, you're kidding me. This whole night is about awards. I'm a winner. They didn't even present our award to us. They didn't even mention us. And they're kind of just like, shut up and just go enjoy the party. And I'm like, no, we had a whole community that voted us and gave us this award. That's what it was about. It wasn't about, getting drunk with my cohorts. And I talked to one of the judges, and the judges kind of revealed himself. Wasn't for our stuff, but he's just like, well, what happens is, they kind of break it down through other judges, and then they give us a sheet out of 12. And then he's like, then I just pick whatever I know what's most popular. And I look down and go, hey, I'm one of the contestants. I happen to win, but we also won up against Sundance Channel and PBS, and guess who won? Sundance. For the regular award. I'm like, you know why? Probably because they were popular. But I wasn't spiteful about that. It was just how they treated the winners, and we weren't the only ones that did not get mentioned. But it was all the big sponsors that got mentioned, all the big winners, or the name brands. ESPN got mentioned over and over again. It just made me sick, like, because it was more of a club than it was a festival. And this year, I was invited to the club to go hang out, and I don't want to be there for that.
Well, when I heard that, when you came back and we talked about that, I was really stunned. The Webbies is the grandfather of all the award shows, and it was out there before I even knew what a web series was. But what happens when you're taking money from someone, whether it's a sponsor or you're doing a movie or whatever, you always got to be careful because you can lose sight of why you're doing this. And it's really easy when you got people throwing money at you and you're dealing with major brands. If you're not strong and you don't know why you're doing this, it's easy to become co-opted and forget about why you're here. And I've seen festivals, theater festivals, a good one, NAACP Theater Festival, which I wrote for 5 years, where theater people just totally got dismissed when it came to presenting awards and even honoring. It became mainly about television and film people. And I voiced my opinion. I said, I think this is wrong. And I know there are other members of the community that were not happy with that, but I voiced it and said, we're losing sight of why we're here. And the tickets became so expensive. And you're like, well, if the average theater producer or actress can't afford a ticket or bring their maid or theirs, what's the point if you price it out to where they can't afford it?
Yeah.
Who is this for? And so I think whenever you run an organization, even whether it's web series or whatever, you've always got to be careful. I'm like that with money. Some people, I've been approached by a few people about sponsorship, but it was not the right kind of sponsor. They wanted these things that I wouldn't. what I'm adamant about is that the LA Web Fest will always be about the web series, the people who are making the shows and starring in these shows. And it's always going to be, you're always going to be a celebrity, because I feel that we have to create our own celebrities, especially in an atmosphere where a lot of people don't even know what we are. We've got to, I mean, granted, if you look at the celebrities that have been created, like Felicia Day, because of her ability to monetize her web series through the Xbox, which is fantastic. But a lot of our or Josh Whedon, who comes from television, a lot of our celebrities in the web series, they come from television or film. A film or television celebrity does a web series, and automatically it's assumed that it's good. It gets picked up by a network or whatever. And then we, as if we're not famous or whatever, we're not in the business, or we tend to then aspire to, oh, let me go get a celebrity from television and film, as opposed to, but it's only because it's an infant industry. And again, you'll see, I mean, we're going to have this conversation. We're going to know each other for years, I think forever, and we're going to both watch the evolution of this industry and how it grows from being something that no one knew what it was to there's great content, but where's the money, to, hey man, how much you get for this web series? I mean, that kind of thing, because the vision I have, the festival is just the launching pad. But the vision I have is a vision where it's all, because to me it's all the same. It's all content, whether it's a television pilot or a film or whatever. It's all content. What I'm doing right now is I'm taking my TV skills, and I've spent the summer adapting my web series Who. I've adapted my web series Who into using my television skills. I've repurposed my web series as a half-hour sitcom. So I'm doing 6 episodes, and I'm going to shoot them, and we're going to try to see if we can get on the network. We're going to try to sell them the way Tyler Perry sold his shows, and I'm working on another show called Love That Girl. We did 4 episodes independently. Bentley Evans was able to sell this to a cable network. But this will be one of the few shows, there's only been 3, based on a web series that became a television show. And because I think sometimes people, you keep telling people about adaptation, but I think until they really see it, they don't, especially people in the web series, they got to see it. Okay, well, who's done that? Show me how to do it. There's going to be someone, I had him last year, we're going to have something this year, where one of our web series guys from the year you were there, 2010, his name is Reggie Gaskins. Reggie took his web series with 53 episodes up. He posted it on YouTube, found some investors, and he got enough money to shoot a feature. And so now that feature is playing a limited release around the country. It opens next. But I'm going to have Reggie there and try to possibly screen his web series and then screen his feature, so people can see how, hey, this guy had a web series and he made it to a feature that's our independent feature, and here's the adaptation process. And then Reggie's going to be there. And the same thing with, it's been done before, under the movie called Undercover Brother that Universal Studios had, which was based on a web series. So it's been done on the feature side, but it hasn't been done successfully. And one of the knocks on the web series is, well, you can't adapt it. I said, wait a minute. It's been adapted 3 times. Okay? They tried 3 times. One time they just, the guys from Portland, they just took their web series, pieced it together, and they put that on television. Of course, that's not going to work because it's not a television show. It's a web series. But the whole idea, they've only done it, it's still experimental. But once someone has a successful show that started a web series and buzz gets out, you're going to see these networks and these studios scrambling for web series. What can I get to with that? Because they're all, I'm going to say it, they're followers. They're all followers. They wait for somebody to do something revolutionary or different. Because they never, God forbid it, they all try something different. They're all used to, don't take any chances unless you have a big celebrity. So that if you fail with Matthew Perry, well, hell, you had Matthew Perry, what do you expect? You know he's going to fail. So they're all waiting to see who makes the change. Like, look at how HBO and Showtime have influenced network television because they were different. HBO has changed everything. And so I think the minute you have a successful web series, a successful television show that was based on a web series, or a big mainstream film that was based on a web series, you're going to see everything change. And that's going to be one of the key points, that you're going to see a huge rush of the so-called mainstream. The same with rap music. The minute you start having hit rappers like Run DMC and Houdini and Curtis Blow and the Beastie Boys, and those guys started hitting in the mid-'80s, and they started seeing the money these guys are making. Kids were buying their records. Then the majors started opening rap divisions. They didn't have rap divisions till some didn't have rap vision to the 90s.
Yeah.
It took Russell Simmons and Rick Rubin. It took a couple of guys from New York dropping out of NYU to take a chance to get it started. And Sylvia Robinson, these people that it always takes, crazy people like us, Andy. It takes the crazies to make the straight people get with the program and follow the leader, because that's their nature, is to be conservative and wait and see what happens.
It's funny you mentioned that, because there's a TV executive that offered a TV show to someone on YouTube who posted like he was talking to his dog and he put a voice on his dog, and it got like over 75 million hits. So they're like, would you like to create a series out of this? And granted, the guy's clever at what he did, but there's no basis behind it. He was basically talking.
The basis is he got 75 million views.
Yeah.
And that's all. What it is they don't know, because these people, they're not creative people. All they're going by is numbers. And they're being counted.
I mean, it's a 2-minute video, so there's you're going to base like a new television series off a 2-minute video. They don't care if
he has the skill. They don't care. They just said, we don't know how he does it, but okay, fine. But that's, a lot of times the suits, that's why we call them the suits versus the creatives.
Yeah.
They have a tendency to just go by numbers only. And if the number, because the old saying, numbers don't lie. And they figure, well, if this guy can pull 75 million viewers with his thing, then maybe he can do that for a TV. If he can pull 7 million viewers for us, let's just give him the money, whatever. Let's try and let him develop it. They don't know that. I mean, that just tells you, Andy, what you see there is a lot of people that we think are smarter than us. A lot of them aren't smarter than us. They don't know any more than we do. They're just guessing.
They're privileged.
They have the resources. They can write that check and go and get that guy and lock him up. I mean, put him under contract and experiment with him and see what happens.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, a talented person, a guy like a Scott Rice, some of these other guys like yourself that are talented, have to convince someone. Jen Dawson have to convince, or running around trying to convince these same people, after seeing these excellent examples of their ability, to even take a look at the show and option it or whatever. But I look at it this way: one man's blind spot is another man's pot of gold. So in some ways, it's the pot of gold won't be there; it'll be someone else's. And history is littered with business people that took a chance on something different, who weren't afraid, who were open and adventurous. And that's how we have things like rock and roll and rap and just so many wonderful things that we have in TV and film and theater. I mean, there's certainly the Little Miss Sunshine movie is such a great example of film. 5 years they couldn't get anyone to put up the money. They had to do it themselves. The guy had to use his own money. He had the money, but he had to use his own money. And the rest is history. Crash. I remember I was at a meeting with the guy who just met with the producer on Crash. He just had a meeting, and this guy was saying how he just read this script. He's film executive. He worked for a major company. He said he just read this script called Crash. And he said it's one of the best scripts he's ever read. And I said, you guys going to make it? He said, oh my God, I can't convince my boss to make it. He was so frustrated. I won't name the guy. He was like, I cannot believe they won't make it. It's only a $5 million film. And this guy the guy he worked with is a billionaire. And they make $50 million films. And in the guy's mind, the film was not big enough for him to write a $5 million check. And then so 5 years later, I'm at a screening, because a friend of mine played Don Cheadle's mother in Crash. I'm at a screening at a Beverly Hills mansion of her film called Crash. The screening's incredible. And I called my friend from the screening and said, hey man, remember that film that you told me about? Was that movie called Crash? He's like, yeah. I just saw that movie. Man, that movie's incredible. It's amazing. Did you guys make it? He said, no, we didn't make it. And he said, guess what? He said, guess what? Not only did we not make that film, but we also did not make the film that he sent us after that, called $1 Million Baby. He said, we sent that back too. So it just goes to show you that, and the guy who didn't see it is a billionaire.
Yeah.
But it goes to show you that just because you got a lot of money doesn't mean you have the best taste, or that you can always see a pot of gold. Remember, a lot of athletes we're seeing right now, there's a movie at Sundance, Tribeca, called Broke, about this whole thing with athletes and how a lot of them, when they finish playing, despite making millions of dollars, they're broke. I think baseball players are broke within 7 years, NBA players are broke within 5 years, NFL players are 3 years. But the whole idea is just because you're talented and can run a football or dunk a basketball doesn't mean that you're good with money.
Yeah.
So we have to. Sometimes we tend to measure ourselves as artists by dollars, especially in the web series community. We're really guilty of that. We tend to measure if it's a good show by how many hits has it received.
Views. Yeah.
Now, a person makes a short film. They don't say, "Are you making money on your shorts? Or how much money are you making on your short film?" Most actors I know aren't making any money, but they don't stop. They don't stop acting.
Yeah.
We tend to measure each other, or people tend to measure us, especially people who aren't in the light, by how much money we're making. And so we have to really resist that, not worry about the money, because you can make great art and not see the money initially. But that doesn't mean that you're not making gold, and that the money you can't monetize it eventually. You just may not be making it right now, because as we both agree, the market is still being developed for what we're making, because it's not television, it's not film, it's not theater. So we have to not. We're creating content for a market that doesn't even exist yet. It's still being developed, but it will happen. And everyone who is smart enough to make a web series that they own, we're all going to seem like geniuses.
Yeah.
And all squares who are from television, who only know television and film and theater, they're going to feel like dinosaurs because they slept on. Then they're going to all rush and try to do a web series, and they're going to be all these barriers because there'll be gatekeepers and there'll be people trying to keep them out. We'll be on the other side. Pass me the steak, Andy. Where's the dom, man? We're out of dom. We'll be on the other side. We'll look like the geniuses, man, because we saw what they didn't see. We saw the crash that they didn't see. We saw the $1 million baby that they didn't see, even though they had more money than us, or they had a bigger job or whatever, or they looked the part. But that doesn't give you inner vision. That doesn't give you that inner vision to see something that's not there. So.
Well, hats off to you, man. It's always like an inspiration talking to you, because your core values I share deeply with, especially about creativity and doing what you love to do. Just get out there and do it. It's interesting, the perspective from Greensboro to Charleston. Greensboro worked with a lot of people who enjoyed collaborating, who like to go out and create, would go out and shoot. Down here, it's very closed, and like people are very professional, but they look at you kind of weird when you're like, I want to go out and shoot, I want to make this story. They're like, you making any money? Like, no. Why not? Because I love what I do, and I love telling stories. I want to share this story with the world. Like, they deserve to learn about this guy or learn about this story. So it's a different perspective. And right now I'm kind of like trying to find people around here to work with to do stuff like that. And it's hard. So I might have to go out and start doing it again by myself. And hopefully once I get some things out, people will start coming to me and going, how can I help? So,
whatever it takes, man. One of the greatest things about the web series is like theater. I call it the theater that never closes. What was great for me about theater is that theater allowed me to create and expose my work without relying on someone else. Because that was miserable for me, to write something and wait for someone else to. One person says, I hate this, and then you're done. That's a waste of 3 or 4 months or a year. Theater allowed me to get around that, to go straight to the people. The web series is even better because it allows you to go to more people, locally, statewide, nationally, internationally. You can go to the whole world and not wait. And so I even tell people to be careful with these Kickstarter campaigns, Indiegogo. They're good. But that should not be, you should not be waiting on the campaign to decide whether or not you do your show or not. Because there are other ways to make, you can have a car wash, there's other ways to raise the money you need to do a show. And being creative with that passion and thing to do it.
Well,
we got to get controlled by those, because that becomes another way if you're not careful.
Yeah.
Creativity now becomes controlled by these other forces where you feel you can't do your thing until you have that, So you just got to be careful.
Bashir, that did Make It Happen.
Oh yeah, Bashir.
He's on Indiegogo trying to produce for another episode. Like he said, that he got in front of people and he wanted to, they want to see 3 more episodes. They just want to make sure that they can write, extended, episodes. So he put an Indiegogo campaign and he's trying to raise it. But I did a podcast. The last podcast I did was with him about,
make it happen and everything. And he was so much fun. And yes, he has that passion. He has the bug. And I told him, I was just like, dude, look, if you don't raise that money, you need a place to shoot it. I mean, because he's hiring people out in LA and he has to get permits and everything else. I was like, we could shoot all this stuff in Greensboro or North Carolina or even down in Charleston for basically free. And you don't have to worry about permits. You don't have to worry about SAG. You don't have to worry about anything else. You know, you can get those series done in high quality. But I just threw that out there. I know he has people that want to do this, but that, you know, they're going to need certain things in order to do it. But he's definitely going to make it happen. And I mean, his show is hilarious, and he has such a great attitude, and his comedy is just genius. I absolutely love that series.
Yeah, he's very talented. He's a very talented guy. He just had a little nasty car accident last year.
Yeah.
From that. But no, they're very talented. His Denzel Washington impression from Training Day, and his buddy doing Wesley Snipes. Oh my God, that's so funny.
He said episode 3 is going to make those first 2 look just like pathetic, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me! How can you up those 2? So I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, you just got to keep going and find a way and be careful. They being the powers that be, you know, some people, they want to keep you dependent on them because by keeping you dependent, they control you.
Yeah.
So anything that we have that we control, that you have, that you're independent, you can do it yourself as much as possible. You know, even if you take their money, you know, you got to try to watch that because that independence is why you can do a show like Awful Awesome and do it the way you did it and make those decisions because you didn't have to answer to anybody except your partner and vice versa. And so we just have to be careful about that. And the money's out there. Indiegogo and Kickstarter are great because, I mean, people are raising the money and making things happen. And they are coming from the people out there. But, you know, there's always a way, man. We just got to keep, you know, it's not going to be easy, but we got to just keep pushing, man. And not...
My dog just farted, man. It's awful.
That is hilarious.
I'm stuck in here, too. I got the door closed.
See, what are you doing?
Oh, my God. It's horrible.
Yeah, we're wrapping it up anyway, man. I'll let you get some air.
Oh, I could taste it. I could taste it. It's so bad.
What a great guy. I'm so glad I made friends with him. If you are a web series creator or even a producer or an actor and you want to get your web series out there, I would highly suggest you go to lawebfest.com and submit your web series. It's a great venue, great way to network. It's unlike anything out there because there's not many festivals or places for web series to go. So support it, be a part of it, and enjoy it. Thanks for listening to this episode of Talent Freaks. Michael Ajakwe's vision for the future of web series and online media is both inspiring and thought-provoking. His dedication to empowering creators and fostering a supportive community through the LA Web Festival is a testament to his passion for the craft. If you're a web series creator or involved in the industry, consider submitting your work to the LA Web Festival for a unique opportunity to network and showcase your talent. And you will see the legacy of what Michael created and how people have grown with it, have been inspired by it, and continue to celebrate his idea and vision with the world. If you'd like to get to know my work, visit talentfreaks.com to see some of the videos that I've worked on, as well as the photography that I'm currently doing and so much in love with. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and rate the podcast. It truly helps others discover these incredible stories. After listening to part 2 with Michael, I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to meet him, to have a conversation with him, and to be a part of his amazing LA Web Fest. Something I will always remember. In late 2015, Michael was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. Ajakwe, and then on May 31st, which is my birthday, in 2018, he died, surrounded by his wife, family, and close friends. He will be missed. Rest in peace, my friend. Oh, and fuck cancer.